For all of the hype at the time that there was around Frozen, Moana has proven itself to be the real crown jewel of Disney's 2010s run, as Moana was crowned the most streamed movie across all platforms in 2023, and even before then was regularly in the weekly top 10. I'm sure partly due to the lack of oversaturation. So it's not surprising that they would eventually do a Moana 2, or that it is the first of the new age of Disney hits to get the live-action remake treatment, if you don't count that Frozen season of Once Upon a Time. Though for as much as you might not like it, that season might be the reason why they haven't pulled that trigger yet. And honestly, I didn't think it was that bad. The villain was, though. She was laughably terrible. Anyway, but then I heard that Moana 2 was originally slated to be a Disney Plus series, and my expectations dropped. I heard that the songs were not going to be written by Lin-Manuel Miranda, but instead by the people who made the unofficial Bridgerton musical and nothing else, and my expectations dropped. I actually heard some of the songs before the film, and they were not wish bad, but they continued the trend of seeming to come from people who were inexperienced to separate musical songs from pop songs, because they were still essentially a lot of lyrics with mild variations on a single generic sentiment without a lot of integrations of character or story, and my expectations dropped. So upon actually seeing the movie, I was still disappointed. Because somehow, after all of that, I did not expect the effort that they would take to make this feel like not a Disney Plus series would be basically nothing. Maybe to improve the animation quality a little bit, but that was basically it. The spoiler-free premise of Moana 2 has Moana going out to neighboring islands to try to find more people, has a vision that one specific island will make that easier for God reasons, and so will go on a journey to find that one specific island and take a new crew because it's going to be an exceptionally long journey. At some point Maui's there, that's pretty much it. And when I say this felt like a series, I mean that the first 20 minutes is essentially a series pilot. It's TV structure, TV pacing. We then get basically 2 more episodes with a season finale at the end. It is exactly all of those Disney sequels that were pilots for series back in the 90s and 2000s. Except I get that less from the structure, because even the original Moana can also feel like a series of separate adventures or encounters. No, the big underwhelming issue is more or less the same issue that has plagued every single Disney film except Encanto for the past 5 years, and that's having extremely underwhelming to useless side characters. Moana's new crew, while nowhere near as bad and pointless in The Dwarves and Wish, can't help but feeling like they just don't need to be there, starting with her really not selling how badly she actually needs them. If she didn't need them the first time, then why would she need them now when she's a genius wayfinder? We haven't properly sold the urgency of maintaining food or upkeeping the boat over a long period of time. Like, a big emphasis in the first act is how far this island is and how long the journey's gonna be to get there, which makes sense when it's a series, but if this story is only going to be as long as the first movie, what are you going to do to emphasize how much longer and harder this journey's going to be? And the answer is absolutely nothing except singing about how it's possible she'll never make it back. I guess it does technically foreshadow another certain Disney staple at the end, which is just another thing that makes it feel very VHS. I know this may be sacrilege to even suggest, but it's why I honestly wish they had done what they did in Raya. Since the entire purpose is exploring islands and finding people, why did we not explore islands and basically pick up a passenger at each island on our way to do something bigger? By nature of that premise, you would have had to give each island something distinct about it, and meeting new characters is a staple in a lot of family films for a reason, and it just makes sense considering that these characters are meeting for the first time just like the audience is being introduced for the first time. So you really feel when the narrative has to build those characters and relationships from scratch. That really helps form a solid connection. We really do lose a lot by these characters just having been villagers who all know each other. We don't really know what the basis of their pre-existing relationships are and how much they need to continue to get to know each other. But really, they just don't leave a very strong impression and are just not that compelling. The one grumpy farmer, Kele, gets a laugh once in a while because he's grumpy and he's constantly complaining he doesn't want to be there. And I related to that too much. And then almost inherently by extension, this highlights another thing that Disney has been weak on this decade, which is character dynamics. And that actually includes Encanto. In recent movies, they have a lot of their main characters kind of doing their own thing, splitting up core duos, or having them interact with way too many characters. I haven't seen a tight 2 duo since the original Moana. This is also why seeing some of the original storyboards of Wish are so heartbreaking. You were so freaking close! In the first one, it's just Maui and Moana for most of the time, and how they work off each other is absolutely hilarious when they're technically working against each other. The relationship itself is part of the journey, and it's why failing the side characters is such a big problem. We don't meet Maui until more than halfway through the film, and it does pick up once he's there, but if Moana's ultimate journey is about literally bringing people together, then the story should be, and technically is that Moana needs to get this group of odd and difficult personalities to work together, which is a very classic, workable idea for a story, but the connection between the characters just never properly forms. And I think that's also due to the fact that a lot of Disney's recent side characters have very child entertainer energy, in that they're silly and energetic, but empty inside. And honestly, that pretty much mutates to Moana by extension. That pretty much is what the song "What Could Be Better Than This" feels like. It feels like a camp counselor who's trying to force enthusiasm, and I hated every minute of it. Yes, the little sister is cute, but Isha from Arcane has already fulfilled my cute kid quota, and she was more narratively important. But it's not just the side characters. Another common D in recent Disney is that they seem way too focused on hailing and worshipping its own legacy. Literally, just from the trailer, all I could think was they're doing as much as they can to call back to the first movie as possible, to the point where it was embarrassing. Aside that every single musical number sounds way too similar to their original movie equivalent, everything in this movie is a callback, from literally recapping the first movie to referencing and repeating the same jokes, to every single citizen telling Moana how awesome she is all the time. The Kakamuras again, a stormy show-off with a god at the end. The clam is the only original location, and it still looks too similar to Tamatoa's lair. Moana bees. That was cute, because that is exactly what this movie is. It is just repeating the same beats without any of its soul. Also, if you heard that there was a villain song in this movie, I'm just gonna say, no there isn't. Yes, it looks nice. Every animated movie in theaters looks nice. That's the bare minimum we expect. Okay, the Kakamura art was cute. Now, all that said, if I was to look at it from a financial or corporate level, I do sort of get it. Since the streaming bubble burst and everyone realized that streaming didn't actually make any money, Disney could have released the original series on Plus, been reasonably pleasant, but at the end of the day, it would have been just another forgettable streaming series that no one remembered, and made virtually nothing from it. Or you could have put it in theaters, and you could have actually gotten something out of it, if not actually quite a lot from it. And with everything else stripped away, the expectations and the standards, this is just another meh Hollywood CGI film, and isn't awful but isn't special, that has some moments and I just didn't care for it. What somebody could say about Moana 2 is that it is a classic adventure. It's about what we're doing or exploring, and it's not a message movie by any extent, if that's what people have hated in modern movies. But the first Moana is pretty similar in that way too. Looking back at the first Moana, it's genuinely impressive how simple it is, and hence why they probably underestimated how easy it would be to keep this movie simple. And I admit, I did feel a little warm and cozy at the end, so I will give it that. And I would be a little bit more understanding if this movie was just one anomaly and not evidence of a massive trend of treading water. Really, it's just that it's embarrassing to watch this and then go to the other movie and see the chasm of difference in quality. I used We Know the Way in my 2016 year montage, and I freaking cried when I heard it again. Because the point is, it is Disney. You have the brand and the name and the money and the access to talent if you put in the effort. You just clearly don't want to. Anything as long as you hit that Pixar summer release date and the Disney Thanksgiving release date, which you have technically failed every year this decade. If all you have to go on now is your backlog and your name and your reputation, that has been deteriorating greatly this decade, and you don't seem to be doing anything to fix it. And it's why, even though this movie is just meh, makes me so mad. I don't begrudge people who go and enjoy it, but aside from some scant moments, I really just couldn't, and I certainly do not encourage people to reward this kind of lazy attitude by seeing it in theaters when there are so many better things you could be watching at home. To say nothing about the good stuff that already came out this year. One thing that just came out was Memoirs of a Snail from the creator of Mary and Max is now on Amazon, and it is an absolute masterpiece. It will absolutely be nominated for Best Animated Feature this year, and Moana 2 will definitely not. And if you absolutely need to see something in theaters, see if Flow is playing somewhere nearby in December.